Greetings, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Marketing the Invisible. I'm Tom Poland, beaming out to you from little Castaways Beach in Queensland, Australia, joined today by the inestimable Dorie Clark. Dorie, g'day. Very warm welcome again from down under. Where are you based?
Hey, Tom, so glad to be here. I'm in New York City.
New York City, the Big Apple, the city that never sleeps. For those of you who don't know Dorie, she is the possessor of a Guinness Book of Records for the world's shortest bio. The last person I interviewed had about 350 words, and I think Dorie has less than about 18. But for what it's worth, in addition to that, though I made that up, folks, but she's the author of The Long Game. The Long Game. Teaches for Duke University Fuqua School of Business. She is, you've probably seen her around because she's been featured in, I don't know, Forbes, Harvard, you name it. She's been there. She doesn't have this in her bio, but she is a sought-after speaker and makes a contribution to business and personal diversity, which I believe is going to leave the world a better place. So, Dorie, it's a real privilege to have you back on the show again. Thanks for accepting our invitation the second time around. I think the last interview was 5 years ago, which leads us aptly into the title, How to Play the Long Game, because it has been a long game.
The long game is making friends with Tom Poland and keeping him in your life. That's what I try to do.
You're welcome back anytime. Let's kick off. Our 7 minutes starts now. Question number one, who is your ideal client, Dorie?
So leaving aside the corporate speaking work that I do, my ideal clients for coaching and for my online courses are professional service providers that are looking to grow their brand and raise their profile so that they do not get treated like a commodity in the marketplace.
I love this because you walk the talk. You know, I see you around on the internet constantly doing exactly that. So why don't we carry on that theme? Because question number two, 6.5 minutes left. Tell us more about that problem that you solve.
Well, this is a problem that I experienced myself when I started my own business 15 years ago. I became a marketing strategy consultant. And as soon as I stepped into the world of business, I suddenly realized to my horror, oh my God, I think everyone in the world is a marketing strategy consultant. And somehow I had to differentiate myself. And so the grueling process of figuring out how to do that over the course of the past 15 years led me to really study it carefully and to write books about it. And it inspired me to want to teach other people so that they could get their ideas heard. So if you are frustrated because you're always having to do RFPs and people aren't coming to you specifically, if you feel like you always have to beg and plead the case and you see other people getting opportunities for speaking or for books or things like that, and you wonder, why am I not getting them?
Right.
That was the frustration that I felt, and I want to help people with that.
Right. And one of the tricky things about that is that you've got to figure out what actually works, but also be true to yourself, right? And
That's exactly right.
hope we might explore that a little bit more. We've talked a little bit about the problem, and you've touched on some of the symptoms, which is you see other people getting booked, and it seems like some of them may not even be quite as much of an expert as you are. What are some of the other typical symptoms that someone who needs your service is going to be experiencing in their life or business? 5 minutes left.
What I often see is that for a lot of really smart people who, become professional service providers, so often because this is, been inculcated in us, we tend to believe that another degree or one more training or one more certification is somehow going to be the answer.
Right.
And unfortunately, more of that thing probably isn't. It's not a bad thing to do professional development. It's a good thing, but it's not going to get you clients. It's not going to get you acclaim. It's not going to build your platform. We have to do something else. And what I came to realize is that there's three key components as part of my recognized expert framework that I really believe are crucial. It's content creation, it's social proof, so you build your credibility, and it's building your network. If you can leverage that, that's how you can make a big difference.
Content creation, social proof, leveraging your network. So let's just touch on 4 minutes left. Question four. You've mentioned one of the common mistakes that people often make in trying to solve this problem of getting noticed and generating demand, which is another qualification or another course. What are some of the other common mistakes that you people make when trying to get noticed and get booked?
The common mistakes that I see are, first of all, sometimes we get too easily defeated in the process. And that's something that is really upsetting to me, because I want to live in a world where it's not the loudest voices that win, but it's the best ideas that win. And so it pains me when talented professionals, they get turned away, or they hit a roadblock or a gatekeeper, and they assume, oh, well, I guess I'm not good enough, or, oh, I guess this isn't going to work out. That is not necessarily true. And we have to keep pushing. So I think a common mistake is giving up too soon. I think another common mistake is sometimes rebelling against it and saying, well, why should I have to do that? My work should speak for itself. I mean, maybe in a different planet, not this planet. And another common mistake is assuming you can buy your way out of the situation. So people say, oh, well, I'll hire a PR firm.
Right.
Throwing money at the problem is not the solution.
No.
You need a holistic solution. One of them is Tom Poland's Leadsology, and one of them, hopefully, is the work that I do.
Thanks, Dorie. Question number 5, 2.5 minutes left. A valuable free action. What's something that someone could do that might start them on down the road? Not going to solve the whole problem, but it might get them started.
So one of the components that I talked about in my Recognized Expert framework is content creation.
Right.
And I feel like this is often the low-hanging fruit. It almost seems self-evident when you say it, but I think somehow a lot of times we don't realize it in our lives. If people do not know what your ideas are, you will never be known for your ideas. And so therefore, it becomes essential for you to create content that is shareable, because otherwise the only people that will be able to see what you're made of is people that you've already worked with. That's a small audience. Or the people they refer you to, that's a small audience too. When you create content, whether it's writing articles or giving speeches or starting a podcast or something like that, it gives you a way for your ideas to travel further than you could. It gives them the potential to reach new people that wouldn't know about you otherwise, so that they can say, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I need.
Perfect. Thank you for that. 75 seconds left, 2 questions to go. One valuable free resource. Where can we direct folks to find out more about your solutions?
So one thing that I hope will be helpful is I've created a Recognized Expert self-assessment. You can get it at dorieclark.com/toolkit. It's completely free, and it's a scored self-assessment to actually help you rate and understand where you are in the process of becoming a recognized expert, and be able to see where you're strong, where you're weaker, and it gives you recommendations about where to focus your energy.
So it's Dorie Clark, DORIE Clark, no e.com/toolkit. Love it. Thank you very much. 30 seconds left, so heaps of time. What's the one question I should have asked you but didn't?
Well, I'm going to steal the mantle, Tom, and I'm going to flip it back on you. And I want to ask you, stealing the time here, what is the number one thing that you have done that has helped you in your ascent to being a recognized expert in your field?
I've figured out a relentless way to generate leads virtually every single week of the year. That was my holy grail. Dorie Clark, very clever. Thank you so much for your time. Thanks for checking out our Marketing the Invisible podcast. If you like what we're doing here, please head over to iTunes to subscribe, rate us, and leave us a review. It's very much appreciated. And if you want to generate 5 fresh leads in just 5 hours, then check out www.5hourchallenge.com.